Hey, welcome to Lorecast Eternals.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So this is our introduction. We're going to tell you what we're all about. Yeah, we're an Age of Sigmar podcast. Clearly,
First of all, we want to start with our names.
oh crap. Hi, my name is Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Philip.
Hi, guys. I'm Jacob.
You know,
Welcome to Lorecast Eternals. Mitchell's just a little eager for this. He's really excited about this podcast.
This is actually a re-recording of our original intro because our first one sounded like garbage.
yeah, I might actually keep that one in, just at the very end of this, just so people can listen to how bad
It's
we
for,
were
you know,
when we first started.
Yeah.
Keep it for posterity and things like that.
So yeah,
Definitely.
no, we are a Age of Sigmar podcast, and we try our best to just kind of dick around and talk about the lore.
Yep.
Yep. So we set out to start this podcast basically because we knew a lot about Warhammer 40K and we were a little more curious about Age of Sigmar. So this is definitely just an experience of y'all are going to be joining us to learn about lore as we learn about lore. So we start off knowing almost nothing and we go up from there.
I hope you're ready for not going the deepest of dives. We're not going to go to like the theories of like, oh my gosh, this Stormcast is clearly this person. It has this implication across the realm over here.
At least not yet.
Not yet.
We're not doing lots of deep dives and things like that. This is definitely going to be more of a casual experience. Just like Philip said, we're learning the lore with y'all, just to kind of make it a more well-rounded experience. Y'all don't feel like y'all are being talked at, more like we're having a conversation together in the same room. And that's just kind of the spirit of what we're going for. That being said, like I said, this is a re-recording, so we've actually been doing this for a little bit now, and
Yep.
we've gotten pretty knowledgeable. We're
pretty decent.
We're getting up there.
We're pretty decent. Also, if you like this, how we sound here, we get this mic set up around episode 17.
Yeah,
The Seraphon episode.
This is our crispier mic setup. We don't sound this good until
Crispy.
episode
Yeah,
17.
before that, we always sounded like three guys around one mic trying to yell at each other just so we can sound decent on one mic.
screeching autistically.
Which
It
is
was
exactly
loads of
what
fun.
happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, if y'all are looking for like real big brain, in depth lore analyses and things of that nature,
You come to the wrong neighborhood.
yeah, not necessarily 100% because there's been a couple episodes where we've gone pretty deep. But like I said, this is a little more casual. This is more so y'all can easily digest the lore in a way that is non-confusing, because that's kind of what started the podcast, was me and Mitchell being like, this shit's confusing as hell.
Who the hell is Malarian and why is there's no Malekith?
Right, yeah. And so, yeah, this is definitely... So we're packaging up the lore and making it easily digestible for y'all.
Yep.
So, and also, we are almost strictly a lore channel. We do a little bit of talking about tabletop, but we are like 95% lore. So if y'all are going to be looking for, like tabletop metas and things of that nature, we're probably not going to be the best choice for y'all. We still talk about it, but we're by no means professional players or anything like that.
I'm the one that by far plays the most Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. Mitchell's definitely the most experienced of the
Play
three of
like
us.
1 or 2 games a week.
Yeah, but we don't do like meta chasing, and we don't do all of that big brain stuff when it comes to like the best way to play the tabletop game. So if that's what you're looking for, we're not going to be the best choice. That being said, if you still want to stick around and ask those questions, we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
We're just not going to be great.
We're just not going to be 100% on point.
Yeah.
Yep, nope, this is definitely more just us learning about the lore, and we do talk about the tabletop too, because we do play the tabletop, but we're definitely more here for the lore.
Yeah, definitely an Age of Sigmar podcast.
We will-
totally not a 40K podcast.
We will end
like-
up talking about 40K way too much.
Ooh, definitely.
Just a little bit. Lots of tangents.
A lot of different tangents.
Right now, we're currently uploading twice a month, or attempting to.
Once every 2 weeks, barring other things happening.
Yeah, once every 2 weeks is the goal, and those would be on Saturdays. And the majority of our updates are going to be going through our Discord, so if you're not a part of that, feel free to join. The link should be in the description of the episode.
Yep.
And we also have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're not very set up, but they're there.
Actually, I'm the one that controls Twitter, and it's pretty set up.
I can't do much with Instagram. It's kind of like
just post
you're
pictures.
just there. Our Facebook page, though, looks directly at Philip.
You need
Yeah,
to
it's there.
do a better job, dude.
But yeah, that's
That's pretty much it.
that's us. Yeah.
Whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Join us in, if you don't like really bad mic setups, in episode 17. If you don't care, join us in the next episode.
Yeah. Also, feel free to contact us over Facebook Messenger, email at our Gmail account, or just chat with us through Discord. Whatever.
Yep.
We do thoroughly enjoy talking with the audience and whatnot. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Okay.
All right. Well, y'all have a lovely day, and hopefully we'll see y'all in one of the next episodes.
See
Bye.
y'all in the future.
Oh, alrighty. So are we just off the races then?
Oh yeah, so the first thing
gets
on
off
the
the rails.
this
God.
agenda of this quorum.
The first 3 minutes of this is already a blooper.
Yeah. So who are we? Do we know?
I don't know either of y'all fuckers. What the fuck are you doing in my apartment?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Realistically, at this point, I'm a rat that lives underneath y'all's house.
As the starting thing, this is Lorecast Eternals.
Lorecast Eternals, yes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast.
You're gonna regret every second you listen to this.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. So
Little background information about ourselves. I'm Philip. I've been playing Warhammer in some form or fashion for about 5 years now.
that's includes roleplay, right?
That includes role playing. So I actually got started off in Warhammer as part of the Warhammer 40k setting, playing Dark Heresy. And my DM for that was actually my good friend Jacob, who really got me into Warhammer. Jacob, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello. I am the Jacob.
All hail the Jacob.
All hail, please. I'm gonna go back to the regretting thing I said. Now, I have been playing Warhammer / being involved in Warhammer for, God, I want to say 8 years now.
It's been almost a decade.
Yeah, I first got started doing Dark Heresy, just like Val. Like I said, I'm the one who got him interested in it. But I was doing Dark Heresy back when I was in college in 2014, and after that, and that was in the 40k system. And I just got really involved in the lore and whatnot, and it kind of just exploded from there. And now I do the miniatures and all that good stuff and have lots of fun. But I've really, really enjoyed the lore for both Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, and Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It really intrigued me, and so hereth I be.
Yeah. Well, it's probably safe to say that you tried your best to get me into Warhammer for like 2 years.
That would be Phil. Remember?
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah.
Remember, they can't see us.
They can't see my knife
I know,
hand.
your knife hands are not going to do anything.
full Italian out, lovely.
Yes. But I didn't get into Warhammer because you suck at explaining things.
That's pretty
Oh man, I wonder what dashing gentleman helped me out with that one.
One day we went to a beautiful hookah lounge, and this man told me all about 40k. And I would say the main reason why that I probably got into Sigmar is because I always preferred fantasy over sci-fi, and my mind was seeing that 40k as sci-fi. Clearly not sci-fi. That is just space fantasy.
Yeah, that's
space opera.
That's apt.
Yeah. But I always wanted to get into Sigmar, and after getting into 40k for such a long period of time and loving like the building and painting aspect, I realized that Sigmar has way better models.
Like the playing, not so much.
We got one game under our belt, and we loved the
He
game.
plays Thousand Suns, so he loses a lot.
And the last tournament I saw, we had a 27% win rate.
Anywho.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. Disclaimer. Yeah, we started researching Age of Sigmar stuff like a week ago. We were on a car ride.
Yeah, that's kind of how the idea. So realistically, this is not a podcast for like the big brain Sigmar lore heads that
Did you say your name?
Oh crap! I didn't say my name.
Oh, no! Birdman. This is Birdman. No matter what he says, he is Birdman. That is who he is. Do not accept his lies. Zinch is a liar.
My name is Mitchell,
No, it's not.
other known as Birdman, but you can also call me White Cheddar.
That's,
my God.
that's a story for a later episode.
That's a fucking story and a half.
Like I was saying, we are not big brain lore heads for Sigmar. I consider myself kind of big brain for like 40k, and so is Philip Mitchell. But we're not super in the know when it comes to Age of Sigmar lore, and the reason for that is when me and Mitchell first decided to do this, we were trying to bounce around the lore, and we realized that Age of Sigmar lore is a lot different from 40k lore. And if you don't know the difference, it can be kind of confusing to get into it. Me and Mitchell spent a solid hour and a half basically internally and externally screaming because we realized a lot of things we thought we knew about Sigmar was wrong, and we had to dive into like the wikis, the lexicanums. I was looking at Reddit and all over. I was finding like book scripts and whatnot, trying to figure out how these things made sense.
I believe our biggest complication was we thought the Age of Myth was the old world.
Oh yeah, the Age of Myth was like the ancient old world or the world that was, and that is aggressively not the case.
Yeah, no.
So the reason why we're doing this, even though we're not like super big lore heads for Sigmar, is that we figured that if we do our research and we learn the lore, and then it kind of with y'all at the same time, it will make it a very casual and very easy way to break down Age of Sigmar lore. So, that way, if you're learning it with us, it'll be a little easier to comprehend, and we can have some fun and maybe have some light discussion on how we think, what we think about what we've learned and things of that nature. But we're going to be eventually going through, the races, the gods, the ages, all of that good stuff. As of right now, we're just going to do a really brief kind of introduction into the lore as we kind of warm our chops, so to speak. And after that, we'll start getting more and more descriptive and more in depth in the factions, the races, the gods, and things like that as we progress forward.
And one thing, just so we're perfectly clear, if you're coming onto this podcast and wanting what's the best army metas in Sigmar right now and things like that, you're at the wrong place. This is strictly for lore. Maybe some stuff about tabletop, but realistically, this is a bunch of guys sitting down just wanting to learn more about the setting of the Warhammer Age of Sigmar universe. So that's kind of what we're about here.
And realistically, as we go down the line, we may break off and do different things. We may talk about some 40k stuff. Possibly we might go more in depth with tabletop for Sigmar or like army faction, things like that. But those are all big maybes right now. For a long while, this is just going to be strictly lore and lore discussion.
Yeah, and I think it might be a good bit before we even hit end times.
So we have decided that we are gonna do some world that was stuff, because realistically, the origins of the gods of order, destruction, and death, and all that stuff originate from fantasy, which is the world that was, and obviously end times was the destruction of the world that was, which directly led to the creation of the mortal realms, and it, for lack of a better word, is a gigantic clusterfuck. But we do want to dive in there and dissect it and kind of string it out and make it a little more understandable. But so if you want to learn stuff about fantasy, we will be getting to that eventually. So don't worry, just hold your horses, and we will get there. We promise. We will bring you glorious Warhammer Fantasy content.
Yeah, and if you wanted a really too long didn't read version of that, it's just more we're trying to be a very casual version of just comprehensive. Starting from the very beginning, in the first 15 episodes will give you a good ground basis of what the 8 realms of Sigmar is, and a good understanding of what everything is. That way, later on after that, we can build upon that and deep dive into different things.
100% accurate. And then eventually we can get to probably what's going to be my favorite episode, is why Sigmar names everything after himself.
Yes. So, I believe the next thing that we should probably do is explain what the next 10 to 15 episodes might be, so anybody that's actually listening to our introduction podcast has a good idea of what to expect from us, and see if they would even want to follow us.
That's a very good point, because people probably know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So to go ahead and get things hello there. To go ahead and get things started off, obviously, this is our episode 0. We're just introducing ourselves. There's not going to be there's not going to really be any lore in this episode. So if you don't care about any of us and you just want to listen to 3 guys talk about lore, go ahead and skip this episode. But so the very first episode we're going to go ahead and have to get things started off is going to be an explanation of the world that was and the ages leading up to the Age of Sigmar.
And that would be the Age of Myth and the Age of Chaos. And then, of course, the Age of Sigmar is an actual age. It's not just the name of the game.
Yeah, it's very pompous. He has to name the age after himself.
It's GW. Are either of you surprised?
I don't know. The next thing that we'll be covering are the Mortal Realms. There are 8 different mortal realms, which I am going to suck at trying to pronounce these. Azir Akishe?
I think it's Akshi. I think
Akshi?
it's Akshi, but I'm probably.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's just a
wrong.
Q, so it's
Yeah, I
So
think, yeah.
Akshi, Shaish, Kiran, Hish, Gir, Chaman, Chamon.
Shimon.
Probably more like a
Shimon?
K.
I've been saying come
Camel.
on, but I also might be horrifically wrong.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, we're not.
No.
This is Games Workshop. We're not gonna pronounce anything correct. And Udugu.
I think it's Olgu.
Olgu.
Olgu, I believe.
ULGU, yeah.
Olgu.
Olgu.
Yeah, those are the L8 realms. I really should have given the better explanation of in those 8 realms, but oh well.
Wait, no, leave them guessing so they can come back for the next episode.
Yeah,
and get
exactly.
more in depth.
All part of the plan.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
No, get your Zinc shit out of here. So for the 3rd episode, we're going to be breaking down
Third in very loose terms.
very loose terms, 100%.
Third bullet
The
point.
3rd bullet point. We'll get there. It'll be the 3rd thing we get to, however long it takes. But it's going to be the races and the factions. Now, once again, this is the first time we're going over it, so it's going to be a very broad description. As we go along, we'll get more in depth. But we're going to be going over Stormcast Eternals, everything in the cities of Sigmar.
That's probably going to be its own episode in and of itself, to be
I'm gonna
honest.
want to
That might be like 2.
Yeah.
The Deepkin, the Daughters of Cain, the Lumineth Realm Lords, Fire Slayers, Caradon Overlords, Gloomspite Gits, Orc War Clans, Sons of Behemoth,
Behemoth?
the Ogre Maw Tribes, the Seraphon, and their gigantic, diverse species list. The Sylvaneth, Soulblight Grave Lords, OCR Bone Reapers, Flesh Eater Courts, Night Haunt, Slaves to Darkness, all of the Chaos stuff, Skaven, and Beasts of Chaos. I know it's a very long list. There's lots of races and factions, and realistically, we might have missed a couple, so we'll be going back over that again. But once again, when we first go over it, it's just going to be a very brief description just to whet the palate, and we will be going back again later on and going much more in depth individually.
Philip, would you like to do the gods?
So next up, for once we finish up all the factions and all of the races, and we feel like we've gotten that hammered out, we're going to go ahead and lead into the gods. So first up, we're going to start with the gods of order, just because there's a lot of them and they kind of need to be covered. And again, this is possibly a 2-part, 3-part, 4-part episode. We haven't really figured anything out yet. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants, but we're going to be covering Sigmar, Elariel, Grimnir, Grungi, Teclis, Tyrion, thank you, Morathi, Malarian, and then from there we'll go ahead and move on to the gods of destruction.
Yeah, those are Gorkamorka and Gragnos.
After that, we're going to have the Gods of Death, which is just the big bone daddy himself, Nagash. I realize there are a lot more Gods of Order than literally anything else. Pompous pricks.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, Chaos does kind of get their own comeback because, you know, they get the cornflakes. Corn. Senor BDSM daddy himself, Slaanesh, Zinch, Papa Rot, or Nurgle, and then, of course, the great horned thing in the sky, the Rat.
Rat Daddy.
And then we're probably going to go ahead and somewhere around there, we're probably also going to go ahead and cover some of the big Chaos characters as well, such as Archeon, Sigvald, Be'lakor, and Asgore. And then beyond there...
That's when we probably officially start diving into the story lore of Age of Sigmar. That would be the start of Age of Sigmar with the Realmgate Wars.
Ah, yes, when the Stormcast Eternals came in and aggressively crumped Chaos. At least for a little bit.
And then after that, we're probably going to go ahead and cover the Necroquake and the Soul Wars, which is some of the most recent lore currently out for Age of Sigmar.
It is 100%. As far as, and am I wrong in this? Because there might have been something that's come out recently, but as far as I'm aware, that is like the most recent, like wide known lore is Nagash fucking everyone's shit up with the Necroquakes.
I believe Dominion came out like 2 weeks ago. They came out with the book like Soul Wars.
Awesome. Okay, then
Yeah.
that is the most recent, and we'll dive on that.
Yeah,
later.
Dominion has its own book that comes out with it, but Yeah.
Also, we're going to be covering the God Beasts. Those are something that when the Mortal Realms were created, the God Beasts were there. And there's a lot of them, and they all have important parts to play, but sometimes there are important parts to play in the lore were like 3.5 seconds, relatively speaking. So we're probably going to like include God Beasts really sporadically, maybe at like one at the end of the episode or every 2 episodes. And for like the really big God Beasts like Draconion or Dracotheon and I think Volcatrix or Voltrix, the bigger God Beasts that had a much more longer running and important role to play, we'll make an actual episode for them. But for like the smaller, less known ones, we'll probably just throw those in at the end of episodes or something like
We'll
that.
either throw them in at the end of an episode, or if like they were kind of only around for like one really big battle on one particular realm, then we might cover it like whenever that particular realm is covered, or whenever that particular faction is covered, if they're more relevant to a certain faction.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair.
So as you can tell, we're just kind of sitting here and flying by the seat of our pants. So we're just kind of out doing this for our own sake and to have some fun with it. So,
and if we help you on the process, all the better.
Yeah.
exactly.
After that period of time, if you want certain topics covered, just give us a message and we'll probably cover them. But other than that, like its schedule that we're trying to go for is more of a every other week type of release to give ourselves.
Yes, I believe it's going to be every other Wednesday starting today.
Yeah.
So that is the plan as of right now. And then obviously, if something changes, we'll definitely let y'all know. But we're going to really try to stick to that schedule because consistency is king.
Truly.
Alrighty.
That's really about it.
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for our episode 0. For anyone who's going to be watching and tuning in, thank y'all very much. Love y'all to death. Keep doing what y'all are doing. And I think we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Whoop.